Hey guys, this is going to be our lesson on naming polynomials and standard form. Before I get into teaching the lesson, I wanted to just go over again where you can find things for this lesson in Google Classroom. So when you go to Google Classroom and you click on the classwork tab, you have those topics, categories, and now you should be seeing a topic for second week, which is April 20th through the 24th. So listed under that topic are the different things we need to do during the week. What you see on the screen right now is just the things that you need for this lesson. There are more things there. I just snipped what we need here so that you know. The weekly overview, as always, at the beginning of the week. I'll post that document there so that you can take a look for the week, what assignments you're going to have to do and what videos you're going to have to watch and how long those videos are going to be. That way you can plan appropriately for the week. So here for this lesson, you'll notice I put a note taker. I made a Google Doc that goes along with these PowerPoint notes and this video, what I'm going to be discussing. You can write on paper for your notes if you prefer to do that, or you can go ahead into that Google Doc, and I'll be showing that shortly how you will do that, but then you can type your notes into there. One way or another, though, you should be taking notes, and then you can use those notes as a reference as you complete the assignment for this lesson. So the video is here, which is what you're watching now. And after you watch the video, you need to complete this assignment. This assignment takes you to Google Forms, just like you take usually the graded assignments in my class or the multiple choice portion of our tests. It's a Google form. It is 8 multiple choice questions. You can retake it. I will be notified whenever you take it, so I'll know how many times you retook it. My advice is if you take it 2 times and after your second time you're still not happy with your score, don't just keep retaking it. Email me or stop into my office hours so that we can go over the mistakes that you're making so that I can explain it a little bit better so that you don't have to keep retaking it and you can fully understand. All right. So for this topic, these are the items you're going to need to move forward. So if you didn't do the note taker yet and you'd like to have the Google Doc, then maybe pause the video, go back, open up Google Classroom in a new tab, and bring up that note taker. Okay, sorry, I had an issue with that slide there. So the objectives for our lesson, what is it that we're going to learn? Well, we're going to learn how to name polynomials by their degree and the number of terms. And we're going to learn how to rewrite polynomials in standard form. So the Google Doc notes, this is one thing I wanted to go over. Again, I have that posted in Google Classroom for you as note taker. When you go there, second, now I have my pen on, there we go. So I wanted to show you, when you try to open that, you're going to get a message up here that says, oops, sorry, up here with the hand, it wasn't letting me draw. Request edit access. You do not want to hit that. I will not give you access to edit this one. If I give you access to edit this, and I give that to everybody, everybody's going to be trying to type on the same form. What you want is your own copy of this form. So to do that, you'll go to File and click on Make a Copy. And then you can make sure that you put it wherever you want, probably in My Drive. If you have some folders in there to keep things organized, you can do that. And then you press OK. And now you have your own copy that you can start typing. All right, so again, that was File, Make a Copy. you have that taken care of, we can get back into this lesson. So we have some vocabulary terms, some things that we need to define so that you know what it is I'm talking about. The first thing is term. A term is a single number or a variable, or it can be numbers and variables together that are being multiplied to each other. So some examples of terms: 3y would be a term, x to the fifth would be a term, negative 2a squared bc would also be a term. Even though it looks like there's a lot going on in that one, they're all being multiplied. So that makes it one single term. Terms are separated by a plus or minus. So if I had 3y, if that was 3y plus x, oh, sorry, that's the x to the fifth, x to the fifth minus 2a squared bc, this is going to be a polynomial, which we'll talk about in a minute, but 3y is one term, x to the fifth is another, and negative 2a squared bc is another term. So if I were to cover up everywhere there's a plus or a minus, I would have three things left. So there's three terms. A polynomial. A polynomial is the sum or difference, so adding or subtracting, of two or more terms. A monomial is an algebraic expression that consists of only one term, so nothing is being added or subtracted to it. It is just one. We're going to get into more names of polynomials, and that's where prefixes are going to be able to help you if you already know your prefix definition. And I realize I'm going through these rather quickly. It's a video, so if you need to pause to write something down or to type in your Google Doc, you definitely have that option. A degree of a polynomial. You can find the degree of a polynomial if you look through every term, find the variable in each term, and find its exponent. The degree is going to be the largest exponent on a variable. It is possible to have more than one variable, like we do up here. We have a y, an x, an a, a b, and a c. So we actually have 5 different variables. There's a different way to find the degree of that, but I'm not going to discuss that in this video. When I'm asking you to find the degree of something for right now, it will only have either x's, or it'll all be y's, or all a's. I won't mix them all in the same polynomial for now. And finally, standard form. So standard form we've talked about many different things. This is standard form of a polynomial. So there's a standard way to write a polynomial. There's a correct way. To write a polynomial in standard form, we list the terms, we order them from the greatest exponent to the least. So we are looking at the exponents on the term. The term that has the highest exponent we put first. Then the next highest exponent goes next, all the way down to the least. And we'll practice that before this video is over. So let's take a look at some examples. I'm going to start at the bottom. So if we look at example right here, 3x to the fourth minus 4x to the third plus 6x squared minus 7. So we said the degree, when we defined that, was the highest exponent on a variable. So if I look, I have x to the fourth, x to the third, x squared, and there's no x with this 7. What that means is the exponent on that x is a 0. That's what takes that away. That's when the x doesn't even show up. So our exponents, we have a 4, a 3, a 2, and a 0. Our highest exponent, our greatest exponent, was 4. So that's our degree. Over here, we have x squared, x, and no x. So our highest exponent And this one is a 2. That's the degree. Over here we have x to the third, x to the second, well 3 is greater. In this one we have x to the second, no x, so that's like x to the 0. So 2 is greater. That's our degree. 8x. Now I said if there is no x, the exponent is 0. If there is an x and we don't see the exponent, then that exponent is a 1. And there's no other x's, so that is the largest exponent at a degree of 1. And again, up here there is no x, so that means that is like x to the power of 0. And that is the only exponent we have, so that degree is 0. Then you can see name by degree. Based off of the number degree, there's a special name for that. So 4, if we have a degree of 4, the name is quartic, like quarters. There's 4 quarters in a dollar. 2, a degree of 2. This one is a little bit tougher. Some people get quadratic and quartic confused, and I understand that because quad you think 4. It has to do with being squared, x squared, and a square has 4 sides. That's sort of where this name came from. That's the best explanation I have for you. My advice is memorize that 2 is quadratic, 4 is quartic. A degree of 3, when we say x to the third or x cubed, so it is cubic. Again, 2, we discussed, is quadratic. A degree of 1 is linear. Well, let's think about that. If we had an equation, y equals 2x 5, that has a degree of 1. And if we graphed that, it would make a line. These other ones start getting curves and some funky things in there. But this graphs a straight line, which is what makes it linear. And up here, a degree of 0 is constant. Well, think about that. If I have 12 with no variable, just a number 12, we call a number without a variable a constant. It doesn't change. There's no variable to make it vary. It stays 12. It is constant. Okay, so that is how we figure out the degree of the polynomial and the name. Let me see if I can change colors, or maybe I can erase. Nope, okay. Oh, yeah, I can. Hey, I'm learning as I go here. So now we're going to discuss the number of terms and the name by the number of terms. So number of terms, again, I'm going to start from the bottom up. Number of terms, as I discussed on that last slide, terms are separated by pluses and minuses. So a trick is if I cover up everywhere there's a plus or a minus. So I'm just sort of going to circle these so that I can see where they are. Then I look at how many things I have left. I have 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 4 things left, so I have 4 terms. So here again, 1, 2, I have 3 terms. Here I've got 1, 2. 1, 2. Here I only have 1, and there I only have 1. So if you look and sort of ignore these pluses and minuses, however many things are left, that's how many terms you have. And based off of the number of terms, we have a name for our polynomials. So if there is 1 term, it is a monomial. Mono means 1. That's a prefix. If it's 2 terms, it's called a binomial. A bicycle has 2 wheels, right? Bi means 2. If it has 3 terms, it's a trinomial. A triangle has 3 angles. A tricycle has 3 wheels. Okay, so again, prefixes help here. And 4 or more don't have specific names. They are all just going to be called polynomials. And technically, all of these are also polynomials. Just 1, 2, and 3 terms have more specialized names than polynomials that we use. 4 or more we just call a polynomial. So let's take a look. A degree of 0, and you'll notice I wrote first name, last name, because this is how we name polynomials. The degree name goes first, and then the number of term names goes second. So degree, you recall, is degree of 1 is linear. Degree of 2 is quadratic. Degree of 3 is cubic. A degree of 4 is quartic. Degree of 5 is quintic. And a degree of 6 is hexic. In most cases, the highest I'll usually make you name for a degree is 4. But it's good to know that there are ones above that. And name by terms, remember 1. 1 term is a monomial. 2 terms is a binomial. 3 terms is a trinomial. And 4 terms or more is a polynomial. Poly means many, if you were curious about that prefix. Okay, last thing we're going to do here before you can go ahead to your graded assignment, we're going to practice some of these things. So directions say write each polynomial in standard form and name it. These are the 2 things that you're going to have to know how to do for your graded assignment. So standard form, if we go back to that definition, says that we list our terms from the highest exponent down to the smallest. So if I look, I have x squared. I have the first, I don't see that exponent, and no x to the 0. So the term that has the greatest exponent is here. Something I want to point out that you must remember, the sign, this. Okay, I'm sorry if that jumped there. I had to go take care of a barking dog. So I believe where I was, this term. So we have this x squared. The 4 is with it, but take note, that 4 is negative. I need to make sure that when I move that term, if it was negative here, it needs to still be negative wherever I move it. So I'm writing the negative 4 squared. And then I look at what I have left. So x squared, 2 was the highest exponent. Well, exponent of 1 is going to come next. So I have plus positive, needs to stay positive, x. If you want to write x to the first, I'm okay with that. And then finally we have this 9. Remember, that's like 9x to the 0, so that comes last. This is a positive 9. When it was in the front, I didn't need to show the plus. But now that I'm moving it behind something, I need to put the plus there. So negative 4x squared plus x plus 9. That is the standard form. Now we need to name it. So we need to know two things to name it. The first thing we have to decide is the degree, and then we have to decide the number of terms. So the degree is the highest exponent on a variable. Well, when I look here, I can see that highest exponent is a 2. I don't have any exponents larger than 2, so the degree is 2. And the number of terms, well, I can come right back here and see 1, 2, 3. I have 3 terms. So my first name comes from the degree, and that was 2. If you look back at your chart, a degree of 2 is quadratic. And then the last name comes from the number of terms. There were 3 terms. Well, 3 terms was trinomial. So the full name of this polynomial is a quadratic trinomial. Let's try this one down here. So standard form first, we're looking for the highest exponent. I have a 2, a 3, a 5, a 0 because there's no x, and a 6. Well, the largest number I said was 6. And when I look at this term, it's negative x to the 6. So it needs to stay negative when I move it up front. Then I'm looking for my next greatest exponent. Well, that's going to be the x to the 5th. That is a positive 7x to the 5th. Doesn't matter about these coefficients, these numbers in front of the x's. Those don't matter. When I'm putting it in standard form, it all relies on those small exponents on top of the x's. Looking for my next greatest. Well, that's going to be the x to the 3rd. And here again, it is negative, so it needs to stay negative. Minus 5x to the 3rd. Next highest exponent would be x squared. Positive 8, so I need to put plus 8x squared. And then I only have one term left here, this plus 10. So there is my standard form. And now we need to figure out the degree and the number of terms so that we can name it. The degree is the highest exponent on a variable. So if I go, that should be on my first term. It is a 6. This is a degree of 6. And the number of terms, again, I can come back up here. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 terms. So the degree of 6 we said on that chart is hexic. And 5 terms, we don't have a specific specialized name for 5. Anything 4 or above, we just call polynomial. So the full name for this polynomial is it's a hexic polynomial. So that's your lesson. Go ahead and use your notes. If you need to refer back to the video, it's here for you. And go ahead and try that Google form. Again, if you submit it twice, if you try twice and you're still not getting a score that you're happy with, please email or stop into my office hours so that I can help you. All right, guys, have fun.